Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with our little reading to kind of set the tone for the video. So if you want to stick around for the reading, just stick around. And if you don't want to do the reading, just skip ahead about like a minute or two. So the first card that I pulled was Material Works. So the Three of Pentacles. Definitely a lot of. It's definitely a new year. It's January, so there's definitely a lot of things going on as far as like money wise, because obviously our economy has really taken a toll. So there's going to be definitely a lot more opportunities for material gain and working on like those things, those goals that you had set for yourself, and just working towards like just building a better future for yourself. And so the next card that I pulled was the Queen of Swords. Definitely a lot of really strong like feminine energy. She's in this throne with this dude's head that she had cut off with her golden sword, and she's just kind of laced in like these golden clouds. So she's just kind of floating above. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's strong and she has her armor, and she gets things done on her own. She not necessarily is a narcissist, but she knows exactly what's going on based off of her own intuition and trusting her inner guidance. And so, she's kind of this very independent figure. And then the last card that I pulled was the Four of Wands, Perfected Work. So, like I said, really working towards your goals and whether they be like just financial or material wise, or even just physical, like if you're trying to like lose some weight or something. Like there's a lot of that energy going on for like work, like getting your skill set up first of all and being better at what you were working on. So like working towards those goals is just going to give you more experience in what you've already been working towards. So just kind of remember that, and things are just kind of roll out in front of you because through your experience you know exactly what you're doing now. So that's basically a pretty good tone for what I was going to talk about today. So with the invisible crown, what does that mean first of all? Because that's kind of a really vague. Don't forget your tea today. Sorry, it's usually water, but it's tea today. Anyway, so the invisible crown, whether that be like your third eye, your intuition, your ego, your belief systems, that inner gut feeling that you get, whatever you call it, or, whatever you define it as, like it's this inner guidance, this knowing that we are correct, or not necessarily even just correct, but we have this intuition between like right and wrong, good or evil or whatever. Although I don't necessarily believe in like good versus evil sort of thing. It's more so about the situation and perception based. So just think of us on this grander scale. There's so many people here on Earth. Like there's billions and billions of different perceptions of reality that everyone has from their own being. And so there's just too many perceptions, right? To just kind of make this, collective determination, because other people have a different view. Other people, don't agree with certain things that other people agree with. And so it's just, it kind of, that's obviously why we've developed systems over the decades to develop, not necessarily political system, but because, that has its own flaws. That's a whole different topic, though. My point is we've designed systems to collectively determine between right and wrong and what we're going to do with these individuals that do right or wrong or whatever. And so it's kind of like playing, well, obviously it's like playing God here on earth, because that's essentially it's what we are. We are all individually God creatures. we all have this, if you look at it from, an energy point of view, we're like we're not even our avatars, we're not even our like, our bodies. We're this energy within our mind. And so, through evolution, we have this consciousness upgrade in determining right and wrong, and skills and ways of doing things. And so it just kind of embeds into our collective consciousness over the years of us perpetually doing this system, or upgrading the system, and it changing it changes with like this flow, this machine of consciousness. It's ever changing and connected. So when you think of it that way, you have to kind of pull yourself back as well, because although things may be like collectively, you know, material or whatever, like there's still these individuals, and let's say like dudes over here. I'm so, you know what? I'm not gonna do this because I was totally gonna have like this whole like phrase, or not even phrase, this little story of like, you know what? No, I'm not good at stories. But my point is this guy over here is going to have a different perception than this dude behind this other brick wall. Like this guy is over here on the beach. Oh wait, okay, here we go. Somebody told me this analogy. It was there's this island with this mountain on it, and on one island there's this on one side of the mountain, the island, there's this beautiful beach, and it's like majestic and beautiful. And then on the other side of the mountain, there's, oh wow, see, I'm terrible with stories. I knew this story and then I forgot it. So there's cities and trains and like a whole collective society on the other side. So there's like all these people and society on this side of the mountain and this island, and then on the other side of the island, it's just kind of isolated and quiet and chill. But this dude walks up to the top of the mountain, and he finally is able to see, all sides and get like a clear view of everything going on. So you kind of have to think of it, from like a spiritual, intuitive perspective, but also in a physical sense as well, because, although the spiritual side of things does guide us into, back to like inner consciousness, and, it shows us that we are essentially one creature, and it gives us this empathy, this sympathy, and all of these like emotions that are not necessarily trauma based, but they come from a trauma experience. So you have like this determination, a lot stronger of a determination of things, based off of your own experiences, going through the shadow work and everything, and all of your dark night of the soul and everything. So it gives you a stronger inner guidance. However, it can still conflict with society, because although you have these inner views based off of like cleansing all of that trauma and all of those, fear-based perceptions, there's still society. Like we still have like the system that we use, and all these other people are not on the same page as the spiritual side of things. And so you have to realize at some point, like, there's all these other people that have this material view of the world, and then there's the spiritual side who are more so embedded in like unconditional love, and just kind of seeing the bigger picture of things and how things work. So it can create like, not necessarily like a conflict of interest, but it can be a lot harder to determine like what type of system should really be developed for us, first of all. I think I'm getting a little bit off topic. I just really wanted to kind of emphasize what I'm talking about with like perception and intuition. Those are just a few examples or a few analogies. But basically, like going back to it, this crown that we wear, whether you're spiritual or not, too. We all have this like crown, this ego, this third eye, this intuition that we use to guide our lives, our individual lives, because there's nobody else that's going to be like, walking around us with a drone, hopefully, to tell us exactly what we should or should not be doing and determine right or wrong for us. And so that's where things get really conflict of interest between like collective um wholeness. And what I mean by that is actually creating a better structure for society, and one that actually, works and creates this balance between humanity, nature and humanity. So you you have to really realize that, you know, we need this balance between like inner guidance and outer guidance, because that's just the way consciousness works. Like I said, it develops and evolves through time and through, doing something a certain way and then working towards improving that, that way of doing something. So that's just, a small example of how it works. Like we make a telephone, and now we have like these cell phones inside of our pockets, and everybody has one. So it's always evolving, and we're always getting things down so they're simpler and easier for us to determine, between right and wrong, and make this type of balance. And so that's when, we start to play God, because we are God creatures. We are essentially, like, not necessarily pure, but when we are born, we're essentially pure. Meaning we're empty vessels with like no sense of life and independency and what it means to be a conscious creature. And so we pick up, the world around us, and that's kind of, where our crown is based off of, is like our family members, the people that have guided us through school, or, church, or whatever it is that you go through and do on a daily basis. Like there's people that rub off on you. We all rub off on each other. Our intuition. We come to each other for guidance, when we feel down, or when we feel lost about something, or just need some like relationship advice. There's this guidance that we seek out from other individuals to get their perception of reality, so we can use it for our own reality and try to make this determining factor of like, what would be best for us based off of what somebody else went through. And that's just, first of all, that's just how consciousness is developed, over time, is just trial and error, truth or consequences. So it just kind of works out that way. But going back to the inner guidance, not the inner guidance, the crown, the invisible crown. We all have this like sense of, or this self-responsibility to have this crown, but it gets diminished and taken away from us through the outside world, the physical realm, because there's so many different structures and experts, and technology makes us feel inferior as well. So it just kind of, it takes away that ego mind where, we have this sense of self-control over our own reality, where we are able to, put in more effort towards society and make some like footprints on and impacts on things that we actually want to change, whether it be laws or systems, or whatever, you know what I mean. You become inferior when technology comes into play, or you can become much more adept to technology and use that for your own inner guidance if you're really keen on that sort of thing. But censorship, algorithms, and all those sorts of things diminishes that value of being able to determine things easier through technology. So like what I'm saying is that you can be force fed a different information that isn't what you're necessarily looking for. It's being spoon fed to you by somebody who might have a what is the word? A motivation. There you go. I don't know why that was so hard. I got distracted. A motivation to, push you in a certain direction, whether it be like uh somebody trying to sell you something, or they just don't want you to see this clear plate of evidence of certain materials towards like political figures or celebrities or whatever. Like it gets kind of like thrown under a rug, especially with society and big tech kind of making these determinations for us. And so it becomes really, really relative that it's important to acknowledge that power over knowledge and consciousness, because that will determine the future generations. When we are at this point in time where we're becoming more reliant on technology, we really have to make this responsibility of using technology for the betterment of society and people, consciousness, nature, and what have you, versus capitalism, um, and gain of functions through these, like, these big corporations. Like, you have to really understand that just because these big corporations, big tech, have like all of this money embedded in these systems, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have the determination to decide what information we are spoon fed. It's like when you take technology away, right? Before technology comes in, it's still kind of controlled by the system, obviously, because we still have the government, and a lot of that was, if you study history, there's a lot of really corrupt things that have happened for us to get to this point in time. And you just have to you think about that, and that's just wordplay. That's just people telling you to believe a certain way. And versus now we're in a system where we're going to these instruments that have all of this information that can be deleted and hidden for like all of humanity, and we would never know the truth. We would just be spoon fed this bit of information, and we would believe that that was the truth because somebody else told us it was the truth. And so it's really important to understand that invisible crown that you have, first of all, because that is like the biggest amount of freedom that you've been given by source, by energy, by God, is the freedom of intuition and determining and judging what is right and what is wrong based off of your own experiences. And so it's really important to understand, your own intuition, your own inner guidance is a very important instrument and tool to not necessarily better society, but better your own life and be in control of your own destination, your own future. So, just kind of sit with that, with the crown, the invisible crown of intuition, because whether you view that as confidence or just ego, like, it's really important to carry that with you, and not necessarily maybe just have this like crown on your head where you believe that you're above everyone or whatever. That's not really what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that you have to have this own inner intuition, this own inner guidance, judge that you have been given through consciousness. It's in your physical mind, so you can make better judgment on life and society. Because look at where we are now with COVID. Like, everything's just kind of being controlled and forced for us, based off of what we know as science. And it's just like this experimental system that we're just getting drug into, and there's not really a whole lot of choice that we're given. So it's a very big point in time, history wise, to really understand that, that determination between technology and information, and then trusting and questioning, whatever information you do come across, because, you have to make that determining sense yourself. Nobody else can do it for you. So, whether you view yourself as a, an intelligent being, or you are kind of like, not extremely self-confident in those sort of things. Like, you have, regardless, you have this intuition, this inner crown, this invisible crown that you wear. So it's really important to acknowledge the value of that crown that we all wear through intuition, guidance, judging, or just, making our daily determinations on health. Like, you have to respect that crown. So I guess that's basically what I wanted to talk about as far as the invisible crown. There's definitely a lot more that I could really say as far as like ego and stuff, but that's kind of like a whole nother topic. So I'll just kind of leave it here. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have anything else to say about like the invisible crown and ego and intuition, or even just society and where we are right now with like COVID and everything, please leave it in the comment section below. Peace.